Hi, it's the e-bike guy here. So what is the New Brunswick status of electric bicycle laws? What is the e-bike policy? Well, I used a Freedom of Information Act request to get the actual text of the policy. And here it is. I've highlighted part of this in green for the parts that apply to motor-driven cycles, not e-bikes. But here it is in its entirety. Basically, the registrar will permit an electric motor-driven cycle to be registered if it meets Canadian motor vehicle safety standards as a limited speed motorcycle or scooter, as is done with gas-powered motor-driven cycles. If the vehicle was manufactured after 1988, it will bear a compliance label stating that it meets these standards. The operator will be subject to all the requirements placed on operations of motor vehicles, motor-driven cycles. If the vehicle is able to be powered by human force and has a motor 500 watts and under, and the motor is not capable of assisting when the vehicle is traveling at a speed greater than 32, then it is considered a bicycle, and all the requirements placed on bicycles are applicable. Notice that it says able to be powered by human force, not must be. It's important to note that if a vehicle has an electric motor greater than 500 watts and is capable of powering the vehicle and traveling at a speed greater than 32 kilometers an hour, and it does not have a CMVSS compliance label, it cannot be registered unless the owner can prove by having the vehicle certified by an engineer that it is safe for operation on New Brunswick highways. Also, not all vehicles are suitable for operation on New Brunswick highways, and it could be that the vehicle in question may not be a motor-driven cycle or a bicycle and cannot be operated on the highway at all. If you're going to get an engineer to certify a motor-driven cycle that you've built yourself, it can cost you quite a bit of amount of money. It might actually cost you between $10,000 to $30,000 to have that engineer certify your bike. Power-assisted bicycle label. Manufacturers, not the owners, not the importers, not the sellers of e-bikes, must permanently affix a label in a conspicuous location stating in both official languages that the vehicle is a power-assisted bicycle, as defined in the regulations under the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Act. Homemade e-bikes will not have this label. A couple things to note here. It's the manufacturers, not the owners, that are required to have this label affixed to the bike. The New Brunswick legislation is actually referring to federal legislation. And third, that homemade e-bikes are not required to have a label at all. Now that is the text of New Brunswick's policy on electric motor-driven cycles and electric bicycles. Again, the parts in green are only for motor-driven cycles. This one sentence and the part about the bicycle label are the parts that apply for electric bicycles. Now, a few notes. There was a previous version of the policy that was going into wording such as it needing to look like a bike or have a bike style frame, but it never defined what those were. That has been dropped with this new policy. So it's irrelevant what it looks like. It simply needs to meet 500 watts and under, 32 kilometers an hour, limited, and able to be powered by human force. Doesn't say pedals, Doesn't say it has to have pedals. It says it has to be able to be powered by human force. In other words, you can put your feet on the ground and push. Also note, it's the top speed of the bike that is not limited. It is the top speed of the motor that is limited. So if the posted speed limit is 45 kilometers an hour and you're pedaling along at 45 kilometers an hour, you're legal as long as your motor is limited to 32. If the posted speed limit is 20, you have to reduce your speed to 20. It's the motor that is limited to 32 kilometers an hour, not the bicycle. There's no maximum weight limit for an e-bike. There's no minimum age requirement. And yes, you are allowed to use cargo trailers or kid trailers with an e-bike. Now this I had to get through a Freedom of Information request. They don't have this full text up on the motor vehicle registration page or service through Brunswick website. They do have something there. It's the last sentence of the electric motor driven cycle section under the motor vehicle registration section. What vehicles can be registered? And you'll notice that basically it says again, the vehicle is able, not must, but able to be powered by human force, has a motor equal to or less than 500 watt, and the motor is not assisting when you're traveling faster than 32. The top speed of the motor is 32 kilometers an hour. Then it is a bicycle, and the requirements of bicycles are applicable. So your electric bicycle does not require blinkers. It does not require a rear light, but it does require a headlight if you were using it at night. Now this policy has also been put up on Wikipedia under the electric bicycle laws section. So if you scroll down, there is a section here for New Brunswick. Now I created this Wikipedia entry, so I also included the other regulations regarding bicycles. In order for a bicycle to be allowed on the road, your wheel rim must be 9 inches. That's 9 inches in diameter. You must have a headlight for night driving, and bizarrely, your seat must be 27 inches off the ground. So if you are driving one of those recumbent bicycles, you got to be careful that your seat is 27 inches off the ground. Now curiously, it doesn't say if it's the bottom of the seat or the top of the seat. So if you've got one of those seats on a recumbent bike that is actually got a back to it, you might be able to argue that the height of the back is the limit. But your 27 inches is about 68.5 centimeters. That's not that tall. Then you've got the full wording of the e-bike policy. You got the bit about the sticker, and then you've got the notes. So it's all right here up on the Wikipedia. Now this one I did put in the DUI. If you have been convicted of a DUI, your DUI has restrictions on what you're allowed to and not allowed to do. And apparently one of those DUI restrictions is that you're not allowed to use an electric bicycle, an e-bike, or power assisted bicycle. So for all those people out there that like to call an e-bike the DUI bike, no, you cannot legally use an electric bicycle if you have a DUI conviction. Again, this information is available at the Service New Brunswick website under the electric motor driven cycle section. If you have any other questions, you can contact Service New Brunswick, or you can email me at ebike@rogers.com. Have a good day.